philosophical equation here about what the quantum nature of the universe. Okay, so you have God, generation, operation, destruction. Okay, all of these fit in a category this way and this way. It's ironic. See, you got creation, operation, and destruction. Space, electric, and nuclear. Now, how this matches here, you got generation. Space generates. Space has potential. Okay, when it's timeless space, it's not really time. Okay, it's not space-time. It's just timeless space. But in that timeless space, there is potential. See what I'm saying? To create or generate. All right. And then you have operation. Okay. We use electrical devices to operate things. Okay. That's order. When you have electrons in order, you can have a current. Okay. So order, electronic operation. All right. Now you have destruction. Nuclear bombs destroy. Okay. That's chaos. Okay. So creation, order, and chaos. Space, electric, and nuclear. That's alpha. That's alpha, and that's omega. Okay. Then you have generation, operation, destruction. G-O-D. So it kind of coincides every which way. I mean, it's just a little ironic how it coincides. All right. Space has depth to it. Okay. It's not just what we think. Space, time, and matter, and that's where it goes. Okay. Space itself has depth. Okay. There's laws that space actually has that needs to be put into perspective that we're not realizing. Okay. And there are 3 laws here, and I call it the division of laws because through this division of laws, we get all the laws that we know in nature. Okay. So these are the laws of space. Okay. There's 3 of them, but they got divided parts. They got sections because these are partial. They all coincide. Like, okay, I'll show you. Space cannot, like 1-1, okay, space cannot be created from anything, nor can it be erased. It's something and nothing, okay? That's the farthest that we can reduce. That's the closest to anything, the furthest that we can actually reduce to anything, I mean, is knowing that space itself cannot be created. It's like energy, the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can't be created nor destroyed. Literally, space cannot be created from anything. And it can't be erased. So whenever you have void, infinite, empty space, or chaos, or chronos, it's only timeless space. And in that timeless space, you have will and inevitability. Okay, that's potential. That's the fact that something can happen, that will happen. For sure, it will happen. Okay. Now 2-1. When no matter in space can be measured, time cannot exist. Okay. This is a fact because time is a byproduct of matter and space relative to each other. Okay? Other than that, you have no time because it's a measurement. If you have nothing to measure, you cannot time anything. Okay, now, these 3 coincide with one another. Okay? They might sound kind of like they might be the same law, but they're not. And these 3 coincide with each other. Okay? That's why they're in sections. They're 3 separate things, but each individual section of it coincides with itself. All right. Now 2, when no matter exists in space, there is only potential for occurrence and micropotential. Okay. So when you have timeless space, you can only think, like I said, the will. You can only accept the fact that something can and will happen. You have that potential, that will and inevitability. I call it the will of God, because it's just the quantum nature of the universe. All right. This basically proves there is no God, and there is a God. Okay? It proves both of those. And when no matter exists in space, it is only timeless space. Okay? See how they all 3 coincide, but they're not necessarily the same thing. Okay? They coincide because space has depth to it. Okay? And we have to apply these laws, or we're not going to understand the physics. And that's why we have these problems in our physics. Okay? Now 3-1. When matter is relative to space, space-time begins. That's when the division of laws begin. 3-1 is when finally the division of laws start taking place. Okay? When matter and space are relative to one another, a universe can exist. Prior to this, only space, alpha, which is nuclear energy, and omega, which is electric energy, exist. Okay? So, literally all you have in the universe before you have a singularity is space, nuclear energy, and electric energy. That's it. Okay? And the first law of thermodynamics, that energy has lasted forever. It is literally infinite. It has been around for infinity. The fact that they try to say space, time, and matter were all created in the Big Bang is the fact that they don't know, okay? So they're trying to say they do by, oh yeah, you make this energy, when it completely violates the laws of thermodynamics. The laws of thermodynamics and the Big Bang Theory completely violate each other. They completely nullify one another. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if they notice it or if they don't notice it, but they have to notice it. Why would they notice it and not do anything or say anything? Because they're suppressing something. They have to be. I mean, if I can figure this out, I know they can. They are way closer to it all. Anyway. Alright, so, like I was saying, let's see. Space-time. Alright. When you have a universe, okay, a universe is space, time, and matter. Space is just space. So, space and the universe are two different things, okay? Space itself is static and unchanging, alright? Space itself is static and unchanging. Until you add matter, bam, now you have a universe. Now it's changing all the time. It's doing all kinds of stuff. It's living energy. It's creating and, creating life. So now it's a living universe. Instead of just that potential of will, or will and inevitability, now you have a whole universe, space, time, and matter. Okay? Okay. Now, the third law, the 3-3 of space. As soon as space-time, or the Big Bang, begins, a reversion starts to take place. As progression continues, regression will increase until the universe is ash and dust. This is basically like entropy. It's not necessarily entropy. What it is say a bottle rocket. You let off a bottle rocket in space and it blows, or in the sky, and it blows up and you see all the little sparks fly off. Okay, imagine that in super slow-mo. Okay, you'll see it fly apart. You'll see all the sparks, and eventually they'll all just burn out. Okay, that's what's going to happen to our universe. Okay, it's all going to reduce to ash. The further it progresses, the more it reduces into ash. Okay, this is a reversion. Okay, there's a reversion that keeps going on. It's not necessarily entropy. Entropy has to do with the energy itself. This isn't the energy, this is the matter. This is the entropy of the matter, basically. Reducing, okay? And burning, reverting, back into ash, okay? Alright, here's the synchronization of thermodynamics. Now, alright, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. E equals mc squared. The Big Bang, alright? That's the Big Bang. That's converting energy into matter. Nuclear energy, alpha, electric energy, omega, have always existed because you cannot create them, and will reduce to ash through reversion, a conversion method of decay over an extremely long time from matter and energy. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Alright? So, literally it cannot be created. The energy has got to exist literally forever. Okay? Now, potential energy converted to kinetic energy. Okay, whenever you have a singularity, all of that is potential energy, because potential energy is literally nuclear energy, electric energy, or any kind of chemical energy. Okay, of course there's no chemicals here. There may be some chemical fluxes in there somewhere, but most generally it's nuclear and electric energy. Alright, that's the Big Bang. It turns kinetic. That kinetic energy is the dark momentum, the dark energy that comes out, okay, in a linear fashion. That's time. Okay, so dark energy is literally time. It's a theory. I don't know why it's just a theory, because it's technically a fact whenever you start actually thinking about it instead of arguing about it. A lot of people do that. They fight and argue when there's nothing to back anything up. Basically what I did on this was went Jeopardy style. I went and took all the answers that we have and started from there and just worked in reverse. Alright, now, so once it goes into kinetic energy, eventually it will reduce into ash, back into potential energy in a cyclical process. The total energy remains the same. Okay, so the singularity itself is finite. Though it's a lot of matter, all the matter in the universe, okay? Space is infinite. The universe itself is finite. There's only a set amount of matter, okay? There's only going to be a set amount of matter, and it's going to reduce to ash, and it's going to happen again in a cyclical process. All right. Now, entropy of a system will always increase. Heat will not go from cold to hot spontaneously under normal conditions. All right. This means the universe will cool and burn out over extremely long time. The universe will cool, darken, and reduce to ash and ice until this potential goes kinetic again. Under normal conditions, cold cannot go to hot, spontaneously to hot. All right, now, the universe can, because of the will potential for occurrence and micropotential. That means once everything happens and it reduces to ash, the universe or space itself can take that and turn it back into another universe. All right, this is God basically using this manipulating this nuclear and electric energy to create. That's why we're technically gods too, because we can take this nuclear and electric energy and we can manipulate them to do what we need. We can create from them. Okay, so we inherit the gift of creation from God. Okay, God is this space, nuclear, and electric energy. That's what it all reduces and boils down to. All right. Okay, this potential energy will propagate, interact on its own, creating kinetic energy once again. See what I'm saying? It'll create another singularity. Space itself can manipulate this through the natural quantum nature of space. All right. Now, the third law states entropy reaches a constant value as its temp approaches zero. All right. The universe will cool to its coldest state, which is zero, and everything will have reduced to ash. Energy would be at its minimum at ground state, but there's no ground in space. Therefore, the energy has no place else to go but to reset. Okay? The system has to reset. All right? The fourth law, I had to add this one. All right? The fourth law that they had is technically three systems being synced. When two systems are synced with another one, they're all in thermodynamic equilibrium. You know? Duh. That's like saying, when you throw a ball up, it's going to go up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, duh. All right? So I basically moved that one to 5 because it's technically, it's not common sense, all right? But I added the fourth law. The fourth law of thermodynamics states, once the system reaches its minimal energy output, it has to reset. All right? This means it has to go back to a high energy state. It has no choice but to reset. The low energy can only go back up. It can't go any lower. All right. So once it reaches its minimal energy output, the only thing it can do is go back up. All it can do is form another singularity and happen all over again. Okay. Of course, these are all just theories. Where's your evidence, John? Look, I'm using evidence. Okay. If you know anything about physics, I don't even have to explain anything. I can just tell you all this stuff, and you would literally know exactly what I'm talking about. If you think I need to prove what I'm saying, then you don't know anything about physics or science, because I'm using the proof to come up with these theories, which are technically the most logical ones. Occam's razor, simplicity. The simplest answer is the right one, okay? I'm not trying to be cocky or nothing. I'm just saying. It's not as complicated as we're making it. People think that the coolest sounding theory is the best one. Like, yeah, two dimensions collide with each other, then a supermassive black hole sucks up a quantum entanglement with an electron, and then it spits out a nucleon with a quantum electron black hole quasar, you know? I mean, the coolest sounding theories are not, they're ridiculous. I've heard some stuff that sounds so redundant, it makes absolutely no sense. They were literally talking in frickin' Spanish or something because it made no sense. They were like saying all this big stuff that made no sense. They didn't even know what they were talking about. Okay? I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm just saying the coolest sounding theory is redundant. Okay? The simplest, most logical answer is it's right in front of us. It's literally right in front of us. We have the answers, but it's our perspective. We're not noticing it because we're too busy fighting and arguing, okay? All I've wanted to do was settle all that fighting and arguing. There's no need in it. There's no point in it. There is and isn't a God, okay? It's just the quantum nature of the universe. When people argue with, all right, when I say that the quantum nature of the universe is God, okay, that is basically saying that there's no God. There's just the quantum nature of the universe. But people do not understand whenever I say that. They think, oh my God, you're so stupid, blah, blah, blah. They want to sit and argue with a word. A simple 3-letter word. The Word of God. It causes so many problems. That word, that simple 3-letter word, causes so many problems. It's just a nomenclature. If you know what a nomenclature is, it makes perfect sense. All right? You have to know what a nomenclature is.